Hallie here with Handmade by Hallie. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do an Easter project. I have these carrots. I have some words I've cut out. I've got a Dollar Tree canning jar, some twine, some ribbon. I'm going to use some clear glue, some red, white, and black paint. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is take off the jute that's on the top, and then use my paint scraper to pull up that metal piece that makes the top. And pulling that off, you can see it pulled off some of the paper. So I'm just going to peel as much of that is already coming off. This will be the back, so it really won't make any difference. So now we're going to turn it over, and I'm going to scrape that label off as much as I can. They're really not too hard to come off, just a little bit of elbow grease, and then we will get started. We are ready to paint, and we are going to paint black, and we're going to do 2 coats of this black on both sides and the sides of this canning jar. And yes, it gets all over your hands and you make a mess on your surface, but that's okay. That's what painting does. Kind of brings out the kid in you. If crafting's not fun, then there's no reason to be doing it. So once this is dry, I will do a second coat and then turn it over and do the other side. Now that this is dry, I have the back side that I'm going to use as the front, and I'm going to open my school glue and pour a little bit on here, spread it out with my paintbrush as evenly as I possibly can. You want to get a good thin coat, not too much of a heavy coat, and then I'm going to get my Waverly paint in the color plaster and do a good coat over all of that, and then I'm going to let that dry super well before moving on. All right, while we're waiting for that to dry, we are going to arrange our bunch of carrots and tie it with the jute. And I'm pulling our piece over so I can tell how thick, and I'm making sure it's dry before I be doing anything. So I'm going to put that metal piece back on, put a little bit of Dollar Tree tacky glue and some hot glue, and stick that on. Careful, that heat from the hot glue comes through that metal. Now we are going to put our words on, and I'm going to sand this lightly. And the mistake that I made, that you will see in a minute, is that I didn't wait long enough again. So this goes on pretty well, except for a couple of the small letters just didn't want to stick. So this takes me a minute. I keep trying, and because I pulled up paint behind the letters, some of those letters didn't want to stick. But that's okay. I'm going to get everything on here as best I can, and I'll come back and replace those letters later. If you let this sit and dry, maybe let's say for a good hour or more, the better off you're going to be at putting your vinyl letters on. So I'm really enjoying my new silhouette machine and how to do these vinyl letters, and coming up with some fun ideas. And you can see I'm still struggling with some of those letters. They just don't want to stick to that paint. And I'm just like, okay, let's just get everything on as best we can, and we'll come back and fix it. Next, we're going to take a piece of jute and wrap around the top and tie it tight, and just do a double knot and cut off the excess. Now we're ready to arrange our carrots. And I'm going to have a carrot left over. And I'm going to pick up that bunch and go around this bunch of carrots, pull it as tight as I can get it, double tie it, and then cut it off. And then I do go back and make a little bow to go on top of that. And I'm going to go ahead and get my hot glue out and put some on the back of the carrots and put it on the board. And now I'm going back and fixing those letters before I move on. And what I figured out with adding these letters is because the glue stuck to the sticky part, I have to add some glue so that the letters will stick. So I just grabbed a little paintbrush, and I had my clear glue bottle open sitting there on my craft table. So I just grabbed some of that to help get some of those letters to stick. So that's what I'm doing there, dipping it in, getting a little bit of, there's a tiny little letter there that I'm trying to get to stick on, and it just doesn't want to stick. So add a little glue, peel off the letter, stick it into place, make sure that everything's sticking down, and then I do a top coat of that glue to make sure that everything sticks in place. So if you're liking this project and finding value to my video, I would greatly appreciate if you do a couple things for me. I would appreciate if you smash that like button, if you would subscribe to my channel so that you can get notified every time I upload a new video, and I'm trying to upload as quick as I can, and then watch my videos. Thank you so much. Now that we have our words on and our carrots on, I'm going to make a little messy bow. And so I cut 2 pieces of the black ribbon with the carrots, 2 pieces of the green, cut off the wired edges, and cut each of those pieces in half. This is a great way to make a small bow for a small project. And I didn't want to add any other colors because this is pretty simple color-wise. It's kind of the black and white with the orange and green. And so here I'm just going to lay these out and kind of overlap and layer these. And then I'm going to add some jute and make a little bow with the jute. Then after I get it all together, then I will go back and trim all the edges to the appropriate size that I want, because this one doesn't need to be very big. And here I'm just doing a little simple bow. And I just hold that in place, use one of those wired edges that we cut off to tie that, double tie it. Now I can see where everything is and see where I need to trim, so that's what I'm doing here, trimming all those edges. And because these are smaller pieces, I'm just cutting everything at an angle, and one side I cut up, the other I cut down, and then I trim those jute string pieces. And here I'm kind of pulling the pieces apart, fluffing it up just a little bit, get some glue on there and kind of put it on an angle. Make sure everything's all trimmed up. And here is the finished project. I'm really liking how this one turned out. Won't you follow my page and watch my videos? Oh, and I do decide to put a little wood bead or button on there. So there we go. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Stay tuned for more.